Hello and welcome to my video on how I built my gaming table. This is the table that we use in our Cantrippin Twitch streams and the uploads here on this channel for Cantrippin. You can also follow us on Twitter. The Twitch and Twitter links should be below in the description. I get a lot of questions while we're gaming about how I did this and who built this. I'm the one that built it, and this is how. So the first thing I did was build a frame. The frame is basically in 3 layers. The bottom layer holds the TV, the next layer holds the dice trays, and the top layer holds the tabletop surface. These are all screwed into place with deck screws and also wood glue. It's a little redundant, but it makes it stronger, so I did both. Next, I attached the base of the dice tray area and added some blocks to raise the tabletop height so that it would be above the dice trays. These plywood pieces make up the base for the dice trays, and these are the blocks that will hold the tabletop area. Next, I attach the base plate that the TV is going to rest on. This is custom cut to the exact dimensions of the vents and the different bevels and such on the back of my TV. This will vary from TV to TV. This is to allow airflow behind it and not block any vents and allow access to any features of the TV like the power cord, the inputs and all that. You'll also see that under the dice tray baseboard, I added some blocks. These are just glued in place, and these specifically were placed there to add additional support for the end cap of the dice tray, the exterior frame of the entire table really is what it acts as. And in order to make it more stable, I added these blocks, and I will show you that and explain it when I show you those end pieces. Next, I added the tabletop surface. These are the 4 pieces that go all the way around the top there. And you'll notice that I did not screw them in from above into these 2x4s below. Purely aesthetic reasons. I just didn't want the visible screw holes. Instead, they are locked in place by L brackets that screw up to the bottom of the tabletop and into the sides of the 2x4s and hold it in place for me there. Again, purely aesthetics, just didn't want to see the screw holes. You'll also notice these vertical pieces that I added. These are to hold the TV in place. The TV doesn't fit snug against the tabletop. There's a little bit of a gap so that I can remove the TV if need be and get in there to attach cables and various things like that. Also, some TVs just have contours to them that make it difficult for them to sit flush against something. So these blocks are in place to push it out from the tabletop but still hold it in place. And I also added the felt to the dice trays. And then on top of the felt, I put microfiber cloth. This is because microfiber cloth just looks nicer and it's a lot easier to clean. Don't ever try to vacuum felt. It doesn't work well. These are simply stapled in on the ends. Nothing special there. Then I fit the end caps for the dice tray that again act as that external frame fascia for the table. In order to do this, you have to route out an appropriate groove all the way down the length of these pieces, the width of the plywood of the dice tray base. And then it just presses on. The felt and microfiber fill in a lot of the gap in that and make it very, very snug. These pieces are being held on by nothing but friction right now. Like I had said before, I added some blocks underneath that would essentially be right about here, and this is to add that extra stability. Since all you have is that tiny groove holding it in place, adding those extra blocks and then cutting out notches for those blocks gives it something else to bite onto and to add that extra support so that it doesn't just get knocked off easily. Again, this allows for a very good friction fit. There's no screws or anything holding that in place, no wood glue. Next, I added the inside pieces for the dice tray area. These simply lap over each other and over the end piece. I routed out lap joints for them and they fit pretty snug together. Here is a close-up of those joints. Again, this is just a standard lap joint, very easy to make. You can easily Google different joinery. I went with this one because it is very sturdy. Each piece winds up holding the other piece in place. Works quite well for my needs. And here you have the end piece where it laps over the exterior part of the dice tray. And again, that lap joint adds some extra stability, holding that piece in place. Still, at this point, no wood glue holding anything, no screws holding anything. All of these dice tray pieces are 100% friction fit and very, very snug, very, very sturdy. While the inside and exterior pieces of the dice tray area are in place, you measure where to put the slats that go on the inside that you see here. You do this while the pieces are attached to the table so that you make sure it all lines up perfectly so you don't wind up with a piece slightly cockeyed or nothing lining up, because it gets very, very irritating when you measure wrong or something like that and you wind up routing just a little bit off and you wind up with them not lined up. It's very aggravating, and yes, it did happen to me. So make sure that while you have them in place, you measure those where those slats are going to be so that they line up properly. Then you remove them, route out, or use a dad-ow blade on your table saw, and you should be able to fit the slats in perfectly afterwards when you put it back together. Those slats just slide right in. Again, no wood glue, no screws, nothing like that. They just slide in and are friction fit so that they are removable, as this table is meant to be modular. I also added 2 layers of felt to the base for where the TV sits. This is strictly to add some padding, some cushion, so that there's no vibration, and also so that you don't scratch up the back of the TV. So it's not very pretty. It's just pieces of felt entirely for those purposes. On those vertical pieces of 2x4, I did cover them with the microfiber cloth. This was, or the faux suede, that micro suede. This was to make them look prettier. It's aesthetics. Also, I wanted it to not scratch up the TV, so you want to cover the wood with something. Next, I made covers for the center and of the long sides and for the 4 corners. These were simply cut to fit for the places that they go, and then along the edges routed out about half the thickness of the board so that it sits recessed down inside and it fits real snug. Each one is measured and cut and routed for the specific corner that it goes to, so that it gets a perfect fit. These provide just storage areas, or in the case of these corner ones, I made them cup holders that I'll show you later. Then I brought it into my gaming area, attached it to the legs, and this is what you have. As I said, for the 4 corners, I made them cup holders. I just took a hole saw, the size of the cup holder, cut 2 holes in each. Cup holders, just ordered them online. You'll see that the dice tray section was a bit too shallow for the cup holders, so I filled the gap using an O-ring, which worked out really well because not only did it fill the gap, but it also made them a little more stable, absorbed a little bit of shock when people are banging their sodas into them and such. Here we have that center of the long sides storage area that I showed you before. And it just lifts up and you have a place to keep miniatures or any other extras that you need for gaming. One of the benefits of this table is that all of those slats, along the dice tray area are removable. Like I said, they were friction fit. Nothing was holding them in place. So they just pop right out, and you can replace them with modular pieces like this, where I took 2 more slats and routed out some grooves at a 45-degree angle all the way down them, and then added horizontal slats across them. And what this creates is something for holding your cards. If you're using spell cards or if you are playing a card game of some kind, this is pretty useful for that. those I game with really, who do use cards, they really enjoy having their spell cards just laid out in these slats. And then it is just the right size that that cover can go right back on top with the slats in place. You don't have to take them out. And it's entirely optional and entirely modular. Here I did the same thing, but on one of the end pieces to make a smaller card section. And here I did another one that takes up about 3/4 of the main dice tray area for one of the player stations. And it's for somebody who has an intermediate amount of cards. The person who used these was a cleric, the person who used the larger section was a mage, and the person who used the smaller one was a paladin, because that's just how many spells each of them tended to have. And again, these are completely removable, completely modular. I can set it back to exactly how it was with normal dice tray stations. I can set any section, any player's section up however they want. Here's just an image of some cards sitting in the card slats. I did not have any gaming cards for this video, so playing cards are what you get. And that is my gaming table. Um, you'll notice here in the center, not only do I have the TV, but there is also a piece of plexiglass on top of the TV. This allows us to mark on it, write on it with either dry erase markers, or we prefer wax pencils, or they're sometimes called China pencils. Work really well. You can just wipe them off when you're done. And the plexiglass also provides protection for the screen of the TV in case you don't want to mess up that TV if you're going to use it for something more than just the gaming. The plexiglass, I ordered it to the exact size I needed online, and put some felt with a sticky back on the edges where it actually touches the border of the TV, the frame of the TV, so that it doesn't scratch that up either. And also it keeps it from moving around too much, though it's sized pretty perfectly that it doesn't move anyway. Now on mine, I did something completely optional and some would say excessive. I have motorized legs on mine where this little control panel allows me to raise and lower my table for various games. If I'm going to do tabletop gaming like Flames of War, something along those lines, I might want the table a little bit higher up because you tend to play that standing up, but you don't want to hunch all the way over your table. When we're playing Dungeons and Dragons or other such games, we lower it down to the appropriate height for that. And there you have my gaming table. I'm rather proud of it. It did take a lot of work. It did take a lot of time. Put in about 60 to 80 hours of work into it, but I enjoy woodworking, so for me this was a lot of fun. Frustrating at times, I will admit, but the end result is something very unique, something very specific to my needs, not something that's easy to find. There are people who make similar tables, but this one was exactly what I wanted, and I'm very proud of it and I enjoy it. Hopefully this inspires you to do something similar. I will tell you that it makes the gaming experience a lot better. Folding tables are perfectly fine, but this is that extra mile that makes gaming a little bit more fun. Everybody that I game with really loves this table. Everybody who sees it always asks about it, always comments on it. I do recommend, if you're into such things, if you enjoy woodworking, if you're planning on getting into it, that you try something like this. It definitely improves the experience. If you have any questions, any comments at all, just want to tell me good job, want to tell me to quit saying in my videos, whatever the case may be, please do so. You can do so here on the YouTube channel for Cantrippin, on our Cantrippin Twitch, our Cantrippin Twitter, and on my own Twitter, also below in the description. Thank you for watching.